What's up, guys? Out here with Project Snowball today, working on just a little bit of stuff with the hardtop and doing some body sealer here and there. I want to show you how to preserve your hardtop if you have one that's in good shape, or if you spend the money to buy one that's new old stock, or you happen to find a good deal on one that's in new old stock condition. Going rate on a hardtop for an M44 series, which is M35 trucks. For the hardtops for those right now is about $1,400 market. So if you spend the money on one, you definitely want it to last. So let me show you a couple of things that will help prolong the life of your hardtop. Now I showed you, what to look for as far as rust signs on a hardtop the other day in my, rust inspection video. Let me expand on that a little. So right here we've got the back wall of my hardtop. Now I did get mine in pretty much new old stock condition. It was on a truck, but it had just been installed and the truck was surplused. If you look at the hardtop, you see you've got like a frame and then you've got a sheet metal outer. What you want to do is take body sealer and seal the seams. So this is the window gasket right here where the door window rolls up. You want to seal the seam, and I'm using a good quality 3M fast and firm. It's a beige seam sealer. It's paintable, no problem. Urethane based, so you want to have some solvent on hand to clean up. You put it on a rag or your finger and then wipe it, and it's just like doing caulking and using water to smooth the seam. So you want to do that on both sides. And you also want to do it on the top, along the whole edge there. You see, all the way around, and back down, and back up. And look, this hardtop, all of these hardtops, you can put the back wall on upside down. And I've seen it a lot, specifically when they come out of the military and they've been surplus. I guess people don't care, or they just don't pay attention. They put the damn thing on upside down, and then the back window leaks and it rusts out there. So I'll show you that in a second. But you want to do the same thing on the bottom that you do on the top. You want to seal. You see the gap there. I don't know if you can see it. The lighting's kind of bad, but if I flip it up, that seam sealer's still wet and I'll get grass stuck in it. So there is a good, probably 1/16 of an inch gap going down to about a 32nd here. But what happens is the paint on these trucks is so porous and crystalline that when it gets wet, it draws water up into these seams via capillary action. Like if you were to stick a piece of paper towel in some water and watch the water climb up through the paper towel, it's the same thing that happens here. And obviously you can't really get paint down inside of that gap. So the only way to preserve it, keep it from rusting, is to seal it. So let me flip this up, because I don't have any seam sealer on the bottom, so I can show you the back. Okay, looking at the back wall from behind, obviously you have your window. On top you have a rain dispersing flashing. Okay, this is to make water run away from the top window, because if you have water running right down in there, the gasket of the window won't stop it. If you take this off and it rains, water will come in through the window. So obviously, when somebody installs this whole thing upside down, the flashing is on the bottom, and instead of blocking water, it catches water, and you end up with the top rusting out behind this flashing. And these drain holes, which are for water that does get down in here to drain out of the window, they end up letting water into the window channel, and it rusts out all the way around the window. And now you see these screws. They just use regular plain steel screws on these. They don't really get painted that well. You see, some of them did, some of them didn't. So it's a good idea to clean them up, OSPO them. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to use body sealer on this. I'm going to do the same thing I did up here with the body sealer on the channel, and if you look on the side of the channel, you'll see why. There's a pretty good gap there too. And as you know, rain never comes straight down. It comes on the side too. The water runs down off the top, so water is going to go in there. So what I want to do is seal that small gap there on both ends. And I'm going to use a 3M black urethane windshield sealer, which is what I'm going to use to assemble the top back to the body with instead of the rubber gaskets. That way, rainwater will never be able to intrude between the top pieces and the top and the cab. Again, if you keep water out, it can't rust. So I'm going to use that along this whole seam. I may even actually take this off, that way I can get it between it. I'm not really, I don't know. I may do it around the edge of the window too. That's a good idea, as long as I'm doing it. So that's about it for the back wall. You know, these things are super susceptible to rust. Look, they were obviously, being military, put together by the lowest bidder. And when it comes to stuff like this seam sealer, I think that tube of seam sealer was 32 bucks. Okay, even low quality seam sealer is around 25. So material costs and then the man hours, you've got to think, if they were to put just a little more effort in to seal this. Now that only took me like 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the max. And then to do the top, you know, it's probably not going to take a whole lot longer, but you add up man hours. Man hours costs more than materials generally, so to be the lowest bidder, you've got to cut costs. And to cut costs, you cut where it's easy, and that would be in the labor. So there was no body sealer applied to these. On the top itself, you're doing the same thing you do to the back wall on the bottom seams of this. I mean, look at that gap there. And that's, I mean, and it's like that all the way around if you look carefully. So all you've got to do is plug these damn seams up with some body sealer. And you know, the same thing here, like I think I was talking about the other day on the rust inspection video. Your window channels, how the water gets under there and rusts it. If you just seal up the end of the metal strip there, and then do the same thing on this edge with some sealer, and you can use body sealer or window sealer. I would probably use the windshield sealer, since that's rubber and metal, and that's what windshield sealer is for. Keep water out. You can't get in there and rust it. On the front, there's really not as much of a rust issue as there is with the rest of it. You do have a gap in there where the top is connected. The sun is washing my screen. I can't see what I'm doing, but yeah, okay, there it is. If you can seal in there in that seam too, but the water doesn't really get up in there as much as in the rest of it for some reason. And you would think it would, since that's, if you're driving, that's what's forcing itself into the rain. But hey, I'm just telling you what I've seen. They usually don't rust out in the front like they do in the rest. So that's really it, guys. If you're trying to preserve a hard top, all you got to do is spend a little time. Wipe your surfaces down with some acetone or some xylene before you apply the sealer. One tube of sealer will do the whole top and leave you the majority of the tube left over. So I mean, you're going to have a little bit of waste there, unless you're also doing body seams and stuff. But $32 tube of sealer or $1,400 hard top that's going to rust out in 5 or 6 years. You know, the choice is yours. Hope this was helpful to you. I wish somebody had told me this stuff when I first got into it, because my first hard top, it didn't last. It was fine when I got it. Ended up with a couple of rust holes. So, in short order, a couple of years. Like the video if you found it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.